Good afternoon, everybody. It is May the 12th. We are at the closing bell. Incredible day with volatility, unbelievable power hour, Fed Chair Powell news. Let's get started. I'm your wealth guy. Let's talk money. Let's talk market wrap up. All right, so first things first, let's talk about let's just talk about the day in general, because unbelievable volatility today, as has been the trend over the last few weeks. The Dow Jones, the US 30, 400-point swings from the lowest of the day down to the close, 400 points. So in other words, we were looking at the US 30 and the Dow sitting at just over 500 points in the red. At close, the US 30 was at 86, currently sitting at 105 in the red, and the Dow Jones was sitting at 112, currently sitting at 103. Incredible volatility. That was just in the last hour. Never mind throughout the day, as we saw the market swing violently from positive to negative, back around. Incredible volatility. Now, to me, what does this mean? Well, a couple of things. Actually, before we jump to there, let's take a look at the one main indicator that I do like to look at, or the one main indice, and that's the US 30, currently sitting at 39.30. So again, holding its level here. Remember, there's not really much support, although some looks like it is building at this level, but there isn't really too much support otherwise down until about 3,600. Now, to see the US 30 finding its support here could be a very, very positive sign. Now, again, this is just another day of heavy buying at the dips. It looks like buyers are coming back into the market and seeing value at these levels. Now, as you know, I am not a permabull, but I do see a lot more gains coming down the road, as long as we don't get continued fear trading, which is what we saw a lot of the day. And I mean, the media is really pointing at inflation fears, and possibly the Fed continuing their hawkish view, maybe bringing 75 basis points back on the table. Not sure if that's going to happen. But for now, I'm going to say that with PPI being bad, CPI being bad, initial jobless claims, which were an absolute disaster this morning, I really don't see a 75 basis point increase. I'm not really going to predict that yet. It does take a little bit more focus for me to really think. But for now, I'm going to say I'm not going to see that. I think we're going to see a 50 basis point increase. Definitely not 75. At least that's my inclination right now. Could it change? Absolutely. But for now, that's where I'm sitting. Now, that being said, let's talk about the numbers today as far as economic news is concerned, because we had a couple of reporting, and I'm just going to pull it up here, because initial jobless claims this morning, not very good at all. In fact, they were worse than expected, which is never a good thing. And they were actually worse than the last reporting, which was already horrendous to begin with. The other area we should focus on is PPI, because PPI came in worse than expected. It was anticipated to be 10.7, ended up coming in at 11. Again, numbers that are not very good for the economy, not good indicators at all. But this is nothing new. This has been happening now for months and months and months. And I'm sure the markets are already factoring that in, although traditionally, at least over the last year, not including 2022, bad news has always been good news for the market, funny enough. But for now, it looks like the markets are starting to price in a poor economy and the possibility of a recession down the road. Although, in my opinion, I've said it before, I think we're already in that recession mode. Now, back to the markets, because one other area I want to focus on today is cryptocurrencies, because cryptocurrencies, although are off their low, Bitcoin currently sitting back up over 28,000. There's not really a heck of a lot of momentum pushing cryptos to the upside. Everything that's really happening right now is all part of just the general sell-off and general momentum of all equities. And I think Bitcoin is really catching a little bit of that as well. So as markets have gone down, you've seen Bitcoin and most cryptos fall as well. And then to the upside, same thing, a little bit of a rebound. The difference is general equities and crypto in the current environment, as in since the Fed's last interest rate bump, we're seeing lower highs and lower lows, but the trend is starting to tighten between the two. So we're starting to see the markets really push a little higher, at least for equities. Cryptocurrency's not quite there yet. We're still seeing lower lows and lower highs. So the channel is still falling. Where can crypto go? I've seen people indicate as low as 15,000. For me, my trigger is at 25K. I do plan to start dollar cost averaging back into the market. I'm not out yet, or out at all. I never really sell my cryptos ever. The other area I want to take a look at now is precious metals as well. Gold and silver absolutely decimated today. Gold down $30 at the close of the market today, although it's still trading. For me, there is proving to be some significant buying opportunities at this point. Many of you know I am not a buyer of ETFs or stocks, with the exception of miners. When it comes to precious metals, I am a buyer of the physical, and I take possession as opposed to owning them on the exchanges. And so for me, this is an opportunity to pick up additional. I'm not upset that precious metals are dropping. In fact, quite the opposite. This is, again, continued opportunity to buy at a discount, and this is all for my portfolio, to buy at a discount because I am very much bullish on precious metals, and I do anticipate that the markets will continue to move to the upside, along with commodities in general. Now, again, that's not a recommendation by any means. That's what's appropriate for me in my portfolio. And if you do the same, or you're a person who is looking at precious metals, just make sure it is appropriate for you, because the volatility in precious metals can be reminiscent of something like crypto. So very, very aggressive, where cryptocurrencies, it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin dropped 20 or 70%, sorry. Same thing with precious metals. For it to drop $30, $40 in a day, 2, 3, 5% is not shocking at all, especially when we're taking a look at gold, which is a higher cost base than silver. But again, that's been the markets for today. I do anticipate that this continued volatility will push forward. However, I'm starting to become a little bit more optimistic as we're starting to see some levels develop here. If the markets can continue to hold here, even if they dip and you see buying back, that again is a very positive sign. I like to follow institutional money, and institutions are typically who are buying the dips here. When everybody else is running, they're buying, and that's where I like to be as well. But that's it for now, everybody. Make sure the portfolio is appropriate for you. Make sure the risk is appropriate for you and what you're comfortable with. Until tomorrow, have yourself a wonderful evening. Please, if you like what I had to say, like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, comment. I really would love to hear what you have to say about the markets. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow morning at the opening bell.